Hey guys, my name is Haley, and I think this is the first video that's going up after my very spontaneous church cult commentary video that I posted on all of my platforms. Did I intend to make that for YouTube? No. I made it originally as a TikTok, which is why I didn't even have a thumbnail or anything ready for it, but had to say something. So, if you are here from the deconstruction content, there is more of that coming. I have yet to talk about it on here because, quite frankly, I knew I was going to get the backlash that I did. If you have seen my TikTok, which my TikTok is always linked down below, it's the same as this channel. It's Haley's Rainbow Library. I also have a bookstagram under the same name. And yeah, that was a very spontaneous, completely unplanned video just based on what I had seen and the clip from Congress. And people were very upset about my commentary, and I accidentally ended up on like deconstruction TikTok, where people like to attack any of us that have left church. So that is unrelated to this video, but I'm going to slide back into some of my book content. So if you are not here for the book content, I apologize. It's going to be sporadic. My goal is to keep it between book content and non-bookish, mostly deconstruction or just like commentary on things going on in the world with all of the horrors that we're currently experiencing with the current regime. But yeah, I will be talking more about my opinions on things on here. So if you're not here for that, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you'll just have to either stick it out or just leave. I don't really care. But yes, today I'm filming the mid-year book Freakout tag. This was a tag that I meant to do before I moved. That didn't happen, and here we are. So I'm just gonna go through it. I've done this, I think, every year that I've actually been active on BookTube. I will say I didn't do it the like 2 years I was gone, but I think almost every other year I have done it. So there's plenty of these on my channel if you would like to watch them, but I'm gonna jump right into the questions. I also don't think anybody knows who the original person was that made this tag. It's been an issue over the last many years that this seems to be the only consistent tag that everybody ends up doing, and tags have like petered off when it comes to booktube for some reason, and I'm glad to see that a lot of them are making their way back. But yeah, we're gonna jump right on into the questions. First question is best book you've read so far this year. I am not willing to make that decision at this time. So I have three. I have Copper Sun by Sharon M. Draper. Literally every book of hers that I've read this year or reread, because I read a lot of her books as a child in like middle school. This is going to be on my favorites of the year. Haven't decided where yet. Next up, I have Spark of the Everflame. This was like my entire personality in the month of April, I think it was, that I read all three of them, and then one of them's like 1,000 pages. More people need to read this romantasy series. And number three is Bloomtown by Allie North, which consumed my entire personality while I was in my last few weeks of work and packing to move. So those are the best books. Those are at the top of my list at the current moment. Next up is Biggest Disappointment. And honestly, for the amount of people that I heard talking about this book and like raving about it like it was the best thing they had ever read, I for one thought it was a new book. It's not. It was written years ago. And that is I Who Have Never Known Man by Jacqueline Harpman. I also like had her name wrong for most of the times that I've mentioned this book. But I liked the concept of it. I did not like the writing very much. I also did not like the ending, and I feel like it just kind of meandered off into like it didn't know how to end, which was a weird time for me. So I ended up giving this I think 2 stars, and I was really really excited for it. So yeah, that's definitely been the biggest disappointment. Next question is biggest surprise. I'm going to go with The Black Kids by Christina Hammonds Reed. This book also is one of the first books that I've annotated, especially annotated to the level that I did. I wish I had brought it with me. I did not. It's in storage. But I have a vlog down below somewhere of my annotations and of me reading this book, and I will make sure you can find that. But this one really surprised me. It's about the riots in LA in the 90s, and I feel like that is an untold or untalked about enough thing from American history that I've literally never heard about until recently when I started learning more about Black liberation and Black rights in general. And I've never heard anybody mention this book, and I think everybody needs to read it. Even if you don't read YA, please read this one. Next up is best sequel. I'm going to go with This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. The representation of kids on the spectrum as well as adults on the spectrum in this book was very important to me as somebody who was a teacher and worked with a lot of kids on the spectrum. I felt this is the best representation of that I have ever seen in a book, especially a fictional book. I also loved the romance in here. I loved the journey that our main character went on after her divorce from her absolutely insane, terrible husband. And then the budding romance. But before the budding romance even happened, she like worked on herself and like made this huge like social media thing. Her working. I loved everything about this book. It's also probably going to be on my favorites of the year. Next up, we have books that made me cry. I have many. A lot of them are also ones I've already mentioned. This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. Fire from the Rock by Sharon M. Draper, also probably going to be on my favorites. I'm going to have a very hard time trying to pick only one Sharon M. Draper to put on my favorite books of the year. I already foresee that being an issue. Copper Sun, again, just mentioned. Sobbed my eyeballs out. Fire from the Rock, if you didn't know. Sorry, I'm going to hop back to that one real quick. Is about Ruby Bridges, who was the first Black woman, child, honestly, to go to an all-white school during the end of segregation in this town in Arkansas that refused to follow the new law of the land to desegregate schools. And it is so timely for the things that we're seeing about all these white communities popping up all over the place, like all white communities under the current Trump administration, which is insane. And then Copper Sun is about the slave trade, and it follows the journey of a person who is picked up from Africa, brought to America, and becomes a slave. There is a scene in this book that I will never forget for as long as I live. I think I also have a vlog of me watching and talking about, or reading and talking about this, but yeah. That one. I'm also going to mention They Both Die at the End. I really wasn't that attached to this book, or at least I didn't think I was. And then the ending happened, and I was shocked and horror and surprised when they both did in fact die at the end. Even though the title tells you, it was horrific. I was sobbing for the last like 15 pages. And then Bloomtown Exodus, which is the second book in the Bloomtown duology, which has become like my entire personality. It's a sapphic Western. And there's a bunch of religious trauma in here that I feel like everybody needs to read, especially if you came out of your own church cult or have any form of like purity culture trauma at all. Please read these books. But yeah, that's my little list of books that made me cry. There were many. It's not that hard to make me cry. Next up is a book that made you happy. I have three. I think, yes, three. I have Melissa by, oh my gosh, Alex Gino. Is that their name? I wish this book had existed when I was a child, when I was a kid. I needed this book. So many of my peers needed this book as a kid. It's a book about a trans child. And it is so heartwarming. And then I have Dungeon Crawler Carl. I am low-key obsessed with the series, and I'm like reading it slowly because I know that that the series is not finished, and I don't know when it's going to be finished. I don't even know if the next book that's like coming out in the fall that I think is supposed to come out is the last one. But this series has blown up. I caught on to it a little bit before the insane hype happened, and I feel like I had a little bit of a head start, and now I'm like reading them slowly because I want to always have one to read. It is a delight of a series if you have not read it yet. And then the third book that made me happy is The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane. Alison Cochrane was on my favorite like books of, I want to say 2 years ago. Kiss Her Once for me was one of my favorite books of that year. Whatever year that was that I read it. I want to say it was 2023, perhaps. Don't know. But this is, I think I was so surprised that it made me so happy because This book is about a reality TV show and like this guy who goes on to be the prince on a reality TV show. I'm not a reality TV show person. I really don't like them. And but like seeing how sweet this entire like romance was and our like love interest working on himself as much as he did, I thought it was so cute. It was one of the cutest like queer romances I've read in quite a while. And then I have new favorite character. Again, have three. Have to mention Princess Donut from Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm not even gonna elaborate on that. If you've read it, you know. And then I'm gonna go with DM Bellator as well as Luther, who's the love interest, but both of our main characters in Spark of the Everflame series. I had such a hyper fixation on this series. It's one of my favorite romantasy series I've ever read. I love DM so much, and it's very rare for me to like and agree with all of the decisions that a romantasy female lead makes. Like I kept saying while I was reading the series that if I was in this situation, I would make all of the same like decisions that DM does, which is a rarity for me for me to see like a character that I relate to that much. And then we have to go with Joey from Bloomtown. Can I hear it for the masked lesbians? Thank you. Then I have new favorite author, all people I've mentioned before, I think, except for one. I have Pencal, Spark of the Everflame. We have Sharon M. Draper, who isn't necessarily a new favorite author. I read her as, again, in middle school when I was like 10, 11, 12, and then forgot she existed out of my mind, which I read years later, and I don't think I realized they were the same author until I started picking up her books from like thrift stores earlier this year and have fallen back in love with all of her stories. We're gonna have Allie North. If anybody knows who Allie North is, because Allie North is a pen name, and I have no idea who. I think it's supposed to be some famous like romance author, and this is her like pen name she writes her queer stories under. She's a new book coming out this fall under the same pen name. If anybody knows, please tell me, because I tried to figure it out and I couldn't. And then Akweke Emezi has started to climb the list of new favorite authors. I read Pet and Bitter by them, and I immediately like put holds on my library for all of their other books. So that's my little list. Then we have a new release you haven't read yet, but you want to. I'm going to go with We Can Never Leave by H.E. Edgman. H.E. Edgman wrote my favorite book of last year, and this is their new release that came out in June. I pre-ordered it. It was the last book that I got before I moved in the mail, and I brought it with me, and I haven't read it yet. Because I haven't read really much of anything since I got here. I think I've finished like a Dungeon Crawler Carl book during the road trip. And I don't even think, have I read? Oh, I read one other thing. I read a Mariana Zapata. So yeah, I haven't read very much since I've been here, and I've been here for like 3 weeks. I also just came back from a trip, so it's been a crazy like last month and a half, 2 months if we're being honest. And then we have most anticipated book for the rest of 2025. Are you ready for my list? I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we go. Catabasis. I know that it's pronounced Catabasis. I think that's dumb. I will be pronouncing it as Catabasis. I have also heard that a lot of people didn't like this who got arcs, and that it's very hit or miss. You either love it or you really don't. I know it's about hell. That is a special interest of mine as a spicy ex-evangelical, so I will be reading it, but my expectations have been tampered a little bit by some of the reviews I've seen. Then we have The Wilds and the Weeds. Do I know anything about this? No. It's by Allie North, who wrote Bloomtown. That's all I care about. I will read it. Then we have You Weren't Meant to Be Human, which is Andrew Joseph White's new book. Andrew Joseph White is also another favorite, like especially queer author of mine that was on my favorite lists of last year. And I'm very excited for his new book. We have Alchemized. I never read, oh my god, what's it called? The Hermione fan fiction that everybody's obsessed with. Oh no, what's it called? I can't think of it. I'll put it here in editing because I know I'm going to be mad at myself later because I do know it. I started to read it on the plane when I was doing a lot of travel, I think last summer or the summer before. I got maybe 25% into it, and I was just like perusing. I'm not a big fan fiction person. I also am not a Hermione shipper, as somebody who vehemently hates Draco Malfoy and doesn't talk about that series of the author who must not be named anymore at all. So I'm a little bit hesitant about this one. It is by Senlin Yu. Even like her name is on the actual book. They didn't even like change her name, which I find interesting when it comes to like published fan fiction. Oh my god, it's called Manacled. That's what it is. I knew it would come to me eventually. But yes, I'm a little bit weirded out by the fact that and the way that this is being published and put out into the world. And then Harley LaRue has a new book coming out. I've loved her for years, and that is House of Rain. Do I know anything about this? No. I assume that it is a paranormal romance because that is most of what she writes. But that's about it. That's all I know about it. And then, oh, I'm so excited for this one. We have reached the end of our show by Allie Gordon. If you don't know, if you've not been around here for a while, I'm a big fan of the theater troupe Team Star Kid. I've been a Star Kid fan for like 15 years. I just went and saw their show of guy who did like musicals in LA. I saw Cinderella's Castle last year. I've seen VHS Christmas carols. Big fan of Star Kid, and she is a member of Star Kid who, if you've kept up with the recent shows, has played Little Match Girl in the VHS Christmas carols. And she wrote a book. And not only did she write a book, but it is a queer book, and it is about a radio show. And apparently a road trip is what she informed me. But I applied for the ARC of this, and I got it. I just got the ARC like yesterday when I got back from my trip for LA, which was incredible timing. And I'm so excited to read her book. So I might even try to go to her book launch because it is in LA, and where I live right now is only a couple hours drive from LA, which is why we were able to go to the Star Kid stuff that we did recently. And I'm so excited that a member of Star Kid is writing a book, let alone that it's something that's a very niche interest of mine. If you didn't know this, I feel like I've mentioned it here and there over the last couple of years. I really like books that are centered around a radio show. I don't know why. Especially if they're queer, it's like a very special niche interest of mine. So I'm very excited for we have reached the end of our show. And then last, I have Sun in the Morning by Akwaeke Emezi. This cover, I might even put the Amazon cover because it has like sprayed edges. I might put that here because I want you to see how beautiful this book is. Do I know anything about it? No. Is it fantasy? I think so. I'm obsessed. And then next up, we have Most Beautiful Book You Bought This Year. I realized most of the books that I've bought this year have been thrifted. I haven't bought any special editions. I don't think. And also, like, all of my books are in storage besides the like 30 that I brought with me. So I ended up changing this because I picked a random book that I liked the cover of before I left when I was answering these questions. And I already disagree with my answer. So I'm going to go with one I just thrifted, and that is this cover of Nightmares and Dreamscapes by Stephen King, because I just got this at the Goodwill bins, and it's beautiful. So, yeah. Stephen King, I'm not interested in his entire backlist because I have read quite a few of his books already. My favorite is Pet Sematary. But I am interested in his short stories. So, I picked up several of those while I was thrifting the other day. But yes, I think this is probably one of the most beautiful covers I've seen that I have bought. But there haven't been very many. And then the last question is books you want to get to by the end of the year. The answer is all of them, as is always. Preferably the majority of the 30-some books that I brought with me from Ohio. But especially, I want to get back on my nonfiction kick that I was on, especially at the beginning of the year, where I was just listening to all of the audiobooks imaginable, learning about like racism. I know that was a special interest of mine then, and as well as teaching things. I brought a Montessori book with me, which is, if you didn't know, a type of like childcare that is very specialized that I'm more interested in learning about. But also, I really want to dive into Native culture because I thrift Native books all the time, especially from the bins. For some reason, I'm always finding them. And I just bought more while I was in LA as well at a very cute bookshop that I don't know if I got any footage of. I might have gotten a clip or two that you'll see in a vlog coming later this week. But yeah, I definitely want to do like vlog series on like me learning more about Native culture. So if that's something you would like to see more of or learn more about, please drop me a star emoji in the comments down below. But yeah, that is the mid-year book freakout tag. I know I've been meaning to film this for like over a month, and we finally got there. So I was making sure my mic didn't die. But I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you all for watching, and yeah, leave a comment down below, leave an emoji, leave me some stars, leave something so we can have some interaction here. If you did enjoy my last video about like deconstruction content and like church cults, please let me know, because I need some hope in humanity after having dealt with, again, if you want to see people absolutely crashing out my comments on TikTok of the Christians that felt threatened by my video, please go look at my TikTok. I was harassed for many days there, and it was a time. So leave me some encouragement for that in the comments down below if you would like. But thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you guys next time.